and welcome to Chicanime. My name is Lauren, and today I'm going to be looking at a video by a creator called Huno. This is about the Apothecary Diaries. I just thought it sounded pretty interesting. So it's called When No Character is Wasted, and we're just going to talk about, I think, the side characters and probably also protagonists of the Apothecary Diaries. I've been watching this particular creator a lot on my own recently, so I'm excited to share him with all of you. I do find the content pretty interesting, and I'm looking forward. And I hope you do too. I think it's an interesting deep dive into the Apothecary Diaries because I haven't seen too many people doing it, so without any further ado, let's begin.
The Apothecary Diaries doesn't rely on just one great character. It has a massive cast of concubines, eunuchs, maids, nobles, people who show up for a single arc and vanish. And somehow, by the end of the season, you remember almost all of them. Not because the show repeats their names, not because they are tied to huge emotional
Yeah, I definitely don't remember most of their names, but I remember that.
backstories, but because they are written with care, with purpose, like they belong in the world, even if they only get a few scenes. That kind of writing is rare in anime. Most series focus on one or two main characters and let everyone else fade into the background. Solo Leveling works like that. One standout lead, and the world that mostly exists to revolve around him. It's a formula that can be fun, but it doesn't always leave room for characters who feel real outside the spotlight. The Apothecary Diaries goes the other way.
Although I will say, at least in Solo Leveling, from what I've seen so far, I've only watched like 10 episodes of it, but like from what I've seen so far, that kind of makes sense for Solo Leveling because he sort of treats as he becomes a player, he starts to treat basically everyone like an NPC. So it does kind of track that like you wouldn't get to see people very often because he's not really considering them people anymore.
It builds a world where even the smallest roles feel intentional, where characters aren't just there to react, they shape the world around them. Their actions matter, their choices ripple, and the more of them you meet, the more grounded the story feels. That's exactly why the Apothecary Diaries stood out to me. It's not just the strength of the main character, it's how every supporting role adds something. But before we get into all of them, let's start with the first one's Mao Mao meets, and how they quietly build a foundation for everything that comes next. When Mao Mao first arrives at the Imperial Palace, she doesn't walk into some grand adventure. She is kidnapped, sold off, assigned to scrub floors in a place that doesn't care who she was or what she knows. And yet, from that lowly starting point, her world begins to expand. Not through exposition, but through the people she meets. And each one of them adds something real. The first is Xiaolan. She didn't seem like a major character at first. Just a chatty, gossip-loving maid with a big personality. The kind of side character you expect to fade into the background once the story moves forward.
But she's so useful all the time. She always knows things. She knows what's happening. I love that Mao Mao has maintained a friendship with her. I love Xiaolan.
But she didn't fade. She kept showing up. And the more time she spent with Mao Mao, the more their dynamic started to grow on me. Even when Mao Mao moves on to a different role, serving directly under Jinshi, Xiaolan still finds her way back into the picture. She helps Mao Mao out with planting flowers. They share quick gossip, casual moments, and somehow, every scene she's in feels meaningful. She's not driving the plot, but she's always adding something real. That kind of presence, subtle, consistent, human, is a big part of why the palace feels lived in. And it's why she quietly became one of my favorite characters in the show. That everyday presence lays the groundwork. But the first person who really pulls Mao Mao into the center of palace life is Gyokuyo. She's also clearly a fan favorite. So many of you voted for her as the best side character. And honestly, I didn't expect that at first.
I mean, I do love her. She is such a little instigator and a little side shipper, and she's just she's such a little troll. Like honestly though, there are characters I don't like in the Apothecary Diaries, like people I don't like, but there's no characters that are boring or bad. Like they all are interesting, which is so rare.
But now I completely get it. Gyokuyo is one of the Emperor's favorite consorts, and maybe the first character who genuinely sees Mao Mao for who she is. Not just a servant, not just a girl who knows herbs, but someone worth listening to. It starts when Mao Mao solves the mystery behind the poisoned hairs, and instead of being punished for speaking out, she's pulled in closer, promoted to Gyokuyo's service. But Gyokyo is more than just kind. She's layered, witty, subtle, the kind of woman who plays her role to perfection.
And a sassy
but
little
never
brat.
forgets she's playing. She teases, she flirts, she manipulates the room without ever raising her voice. And underneath all that polish is someone who understands the game better than anyone. Because she knows what happens to women who lose it. And somehow, she never lets that make her cruel. There is one moment where she talks to Mao Mao about love, not with bitterness, but with a kind of quiet envy. She sees another consort getting married to someone she actually loves, and for a second, Gyokyo let her mask slip. She admits that she wants that too. That's what makes her resonate. She's powerful, yes, but she's also real. She has limits, longings, lines she won't cross, and yet, she's still standing. Her trust in Mao Mao is what opens more doors, and what drags Mao Mao deeper into the web of palace politics. Through her position as food taster and assistant, Mao Mao ends up involved in everything from consort affairs to poison investigations, and eventually, she starts working under the direct supervision of Jinshi, which means we get to see more of Gaoshan. At first,
We love Gaoshan. We call him Daddy Gaoshan. We call him Daddy on our show because we love him so very much. And he is such a tired, he's a tired dad. Jinshi really puts him through the ringer. Plus also Jinshi's about the same age as his actual kid. Oh, spoilers, right? Spoilers. Jinshi's is like about the same age as his actual kid. So like, at least one of his kids. I think he's got 2 kids, doesn't he? Anyway, Jinshi's the same age as his kid. And he has to teach, like, I love their relationship. And then the fact that he's like kind of treating Mao Mao as like a surrogate kid as well. It's like, hey, Mao Mao. Xiao Mao, I need you to work with me here, please. I love him. I love him.
First, Gaoshan seems like just another serious background character. He's the man who's always there where Jinshi is, keeping things moving, keeping people in line. But over time, he starts to feel like something else. Not a sidekick, not a comic foil, more like
Daddy.
a father figure caught between 2 very difficult children.
Yup.
He's not emotional, but he's present. He observes, steps in when it matters. And whether it's reining in Jinshi or protecting Mao Mao, you realize that he's the guy holding the whole operation together. He doesn't have dramatic monologues, he
does face palms though. No dramatic monologues, but a lot of dramatic face palms.
them. His loyalty, patience, and restraint says enough. He's one of those characters who stays in the background, but once you notice him, you really notice him. None of these characters needed big arcs or dramatic speeches. They don't ask for your attention, but they earn it, quietly, consistently, and without forcing it. And together they make Mao Mao's world feel full. Not just a backdrop, not just a setting, a network of people who help shape her, challenge her, and slowly change the course of her story. But there is something bigger going on here, because these characters don't just support her story, they shape the entire world around her. What really sets the Apothecary Diaries apart isn't just that its side characters are good, it's that they never feel like side characters. They don't exist just to support Mao Mao, or to fill in gaps, or to push the plot when it gets stuck. They exist like real people do, with their own lives, timelines, motivations, and stories that don't pause just because Mao Mao walks out of the
That was the lady who, okay, I remember her now. I had forgotten her, but now I remember her.
room. And that kind of writing is rare, especially
She was the one who like poisoned somebody. She poisoned the baby with honey or something. Like, that was, right? I think that was her.
in anime. Usually, a big cast means a few memorable characters and a whole lot of forgettable ones. But here every single person feel like they matter, even the ones who show up for just a few scenes. Lady Ado could have easily been a background noise, just another older consort, slowly fading out of the inner court. But she's not. Her story is about quiet dignity, about pouring the last of herself into someone else, about stepping away from power, not with bitterness, but with purpose. And her bond with Lishu gives her arc fate. It closes a chapter, it says something. And then there's Lakan. He arrives late, but once he enters the story, nothing is the same. At first he feels like a threat, manipulative, smug, unreadable, but
we did not trust him even a little bit when we first ran into Lakan. Like, not even a little bit. But now it's just like, he's such a dork. He's a wife guy, he's a girl dad, he is just kind of a dork, but still brilliant but also a dork.
Over time, the show peels him back, layer by layer, revealing a tragic past that redefines who he is and why he acts the way he does. He's not just a father Mao Mao never asked for, he's a symbol of everything she distrusts: power, secrecy, emotional manipulation. But the more you learn about him, his facial blindness, his lost love, his regrets, the harder it becomes to write him off. He doesn't earn forgiveness, but he earns complexity. And through that complexity, the world itself gets sharper. Even someone like the Quack Doctor leaves
He has a name? Gwen? He has a name? He's not just the Quack? I didn't realize he had a name.
He never gets a huge arc, he's not emotionally central, but practically, he enables Mao Mao, gives her a space to work, a lab to explore, a sense of autonomy early on when she had none, and Tentei Suirei, a character whose entire arc happens just outside Mao Mao's grasp. She appears quiet, reserved, maybe even forgettable at first, but she's the one person who manages to slip through Mao Mao's fingers. She fakes her death, escapes the palace, uses a resurrection drug that Mao Mao can't identify fast enough, and instead of being bitter about it, Mao Mao becomes obsessed. Not with revenge, with understanding. So there isn't—
and we're in a very interesting part of the anime right now! Ooh.
Isn't just a mystery to solve. She's a mirror, another woman obsessed with herbs, quietly brilliant, not interested in playing the palace's games. But unlike Mao Mao, she left. And the fact that she did, successfully, cleanly, on her own terms, sticks with Mao Mao. You can feel
after
it in
trying
her
to kill
excitement,
Jinshi.
in the way she talks about the case, in how badly she wants to find Surei again. Not to catch her, but to prove she can keep up. It's subtle, but it leaves an impression. Surei doesn't need multiple episodes, she just needs one to shift the entire tone. Some characters leave an emotional impact, others create space for Mao Mao to grow. Some change the way you see the world of the show, others just make it richer by existing in it. But what's most impressive is that all of them do it without pulling the focus away from Mao Mao. That's where so many other anime fall apart. One Punch Man Season 2 is a textbook example. The first season worked because it knew what it was: Saitama, his ridiculous strength, his dry indifference, and the world that bounced off him like a brick wall. But Season 2 shifts. Suddenly the story is about the hero association. New villains, new subplots, endless detours. And somewhere along the way, the thing that mattered to me, Saitama, starts to feel like a background character in his own show. And even if those side stories are interesting, they feel disconnected. They are happening next to the main story, not inside it. But the Apothecary Diaries never lets that happen. Even when Mao Mao isn't on screen, her presence is everywhere. You're either seeing what she set in motion, or what she's about to step into. That's not an accident. It's a result of disciplined, intentional writing. Every side character in this series exists for a reason. They are not just quirks, or tropes, or filler. They serve a structural purpose, either deepening the world, challenging the protagonist, or revealing something the main story can't say out loud. It's almost modular. The author introduces a character, uses them to ask a question or expose a tension, and then lets them exit gracefully, often leaving a ripple that lasts long after they are gone. And it works because the show trusts the audience. It doesn't force drama, it doesn't over-explain, it lets moments breathe, lets characters
This clip is especially important and definitely not fan service.
Silence, and gives small details time to resonate.
Strip,
Boston! Apothecary Diary is so rare. It's not trying to make you remember every character, it just writes them well enough that you do. This world doesn't work without its people. Every maid, every concert, every quiet figure in the background, they don't just support Mao Mao's story, they make it possible. And in return, Mao Mao makes them unforgettable. If you want to see how that all came to a head, the moment she stopped just being interesting and became one of the most beloved characters in anime, you can click here to watch the full breakdown. Thanks for watching.
You're welcome, thank you.
Sub, goodbye.
Do that, all of that. Cause honestly, this is why I like this guy. Cause he does make me think things. It's like, I already knew it. It's like, it's in there, it's in my head. Like, I already know it, but like, he really makes me feel it, which is so cool. And like, he puts things into perspective in a way that I just really, really appreciate. So anyway, again, that was Huno. The link for this particular video will be in the description below. You should definitely check out some more of his videos. Like I said, I've been watching him a lot. And I just think, he puts it into words so well, so much better than I could. So I really, really appreciate that. And I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for watching. I know that there's been some weirdness going on recently with the channels, and I appreciate you all sticking with me through it. and for the words of support and everything on that nature too. So thank you again. And yeah, I guess I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.